Hi there! Today in this video I want to share how I make these guys. So this is the snowman made with a burlap blanket yarn, and you can also with the same pattern use 2 strands of regular worsted weight yarn and it just comes out just a little bit smaller. So you just need to adjust your hat size if you're going that direction. And then another possibility is this Bernat Pipsqueak yarn. This is by far my favorite, but I like the outcome the best, but working with this yarn is a beast to say the least. So this is the Pipsqueak, and this is the blanket yarn. This is hard enough to work with and see where your stitches are, but this is really a tough one. So definitely not for the faint of heart, but if you like the result, then it's worth giving it a try. So of course we'll need our hooks, and I'm using a size H 5.0 for the blanket yarn, and then when I'm using just the worsted weight yarn I use a size G or 4.0. Yarn needle, scissors, and a pair of safety eyes. I'm using a size 12 millimeter, and I like to use a little piece of felt or even like t-shirt fabric or something like that. Just put it behind the back behind, so it kind of holds it, keeps it from slipping through. And what else do we need? We need some stuffing, and we'll have our arms. I used these little plastic arms that I got off of Amazon. In the past, I've used some cheap little garland string that I got from Dollar Tree, and I just cut it in pieces and twisted it around. So you could do that as well. And then for the nose, went through a couple of different things with the nose. Tried wrapping some yarn around a toothpick and fastening it on with a little wire. I think I put some double-sided tape or some glue, I think maybe glue underneath there. Another thing that you can do is just take a pipe cleaner and twist it around a toothpick. So kind of looks like that, only orange. But my favorite is this Sculpey clay, and I made these. I just make up a batch of these noses, and I don't know if you can see that or not, but when I'm rolling them out, I put little marks in them and just you kind of twist it up and make it really looks like a carrot. So it's kind of fun, and you can make a lot of noses with one little package of clay. You bake it actually, so this was my first experience with using Sculpey clay, but I really like the outcome on that. So that was my favorite thing to use for the noses. On the hats, we'll need a palm. So I've just got a little handy dandy palm maker, and I use the smallest one for this palm on here. And so that, I think, is all our materials. So I guess we can get started. So it's a pretty simple pattern. We just need a chain 25. I don't want to do that loosely, so just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then for our next row, we're going to go into the second chain from the hook. So there's our first one, there's our second one. So we'll just go right in there and we'll do a single crochet. And then we're just going to single crochet all the way across till we get to the other end. And you should have 24 stitches. When you're done. All right. Then for each row, when we get to the end, we're just going to chain one and turn. And then we'll go right back into that stitch there, do a single crochet, and then just work our way across. You're just going through, you don't have to worry about going in the back loop or the front loop, you just go through both. And you just work your way across till you get to the end. Each row should have 24 stitches. And again, you get to the end and you just chain, turn, and then just go right back into that stitch that's right there. So, and with this blanket yarn, you can just kind of feel the next little divot. And now just continue on until you have 20 rows. So a tip for trying to figure out how many rows you have, if you aren't counting them as you go, which I never do, but I don't know if the camera will pick that up or not, but there is like every 2 rows, there's like a line. So I have 6 rows here. So there's kind of a line that runs along here, separating the 2 rows, and then another one here separating those 2 rows. And then there's another 2 rows. So I've got 6 rows so far, and just not counting the foundation row, that chain row. So we've got 6 rows so far, and we need 20. So we'll have 10 of those little ridges. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of these little pairs of rows. So I've got 20 rows, and just for so you can see, it's about 9 inches that way, and almost 8 inches that way, about a little over 7.5. Take about a 20-inch tail or so, so about that long. And our lines on our snowman are going to go up and down like this, our rows. So we're going to want to sew it together this way. But before we do that, we're going to take a piece of just regular yarn, white if you have it. You can use the blanket yarn, but we're going to cinch it and tighten, so I like to use the worsted weight yarn just to make it easier on myself. I'm just going to go along about a third of the way down, not quite half, but about right in here. We're going to take that and just go through to the other side. It's easier to put it in now than it is after we've got it stuffed. And hopefully they're about the same distance from the top and bottom. It's pretty good. Now we're going to take our long strand and just sew up the side. And I just like to go back and forth. And try to hit every stitch. To the end. I'm just going to tie it to that end thread there. Okay, let's add our eyes. I'm going to put those right in about 6 stitches down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then there's going to be about 4 to 5 rows in between. And we just take our little felt pieces and put those on the back. Those went in nicely. So now we can cinch the top of the head. Take another one of our strings. I probably have more than enough there, but better to be safe than sorry. I'm going to start at the back. This is our seam. And just go back and forth like every other row. Actually, I want it to be, we're going to put it through there, and I'm going to take this one and put it through because I want both strings on the inside, but we're going to turn it inside out, the whole guy. And when we cinch it, oh, it doesn't belong there. Okay. We're going to cinch it this way, inside out, so that when we do, we pull it tight. Any bunching is going to be on the inside. You don't have to do anything with those tails. They're just going to be stuffed inside. Turn it back out. There. Too bad. Now we stuff it. It's about a third of the way, and then we're going to cinch up the neck. All right, looks like we got a little flaw there, missed a stitch, but I'm not going to worry about it because we're going to use this yarn to just add a stitch. So, but for now, we want to tighten it up a little bit just to give it some shape. Get our knot in there. And how's it look? Yep, our little flaw took care of itself. So that's a little long, but the other ones can go inside. We'll just tuck those in. And now we can stuff the rest of the body. Now, this is totally optional, but if you want to add a little weight when you're stuffing the bottom of the snowman, I've got some nylon and those little plastic pellets. You can also use beans or popcorn, unpopped popcorn. So the pellets, of course, would be probably you don't have to worry about those getting wet. And these are just a knee-high or a nylon, so I'm upcycling. And we're just going to stick that right there in the bottom, like so. And that just gives your guy a little more stability. Totally optional. Yeah. Get it like you like it. Then you can cinch that shut too. Just like we did the top. You're just going to go back and forth. Start at the back and work our way around. Oops. All right, here we are. This is the tricky one. We'll cinch it together. It looks pretty good, and so you can see that you can easily adjust the size of the snowman. If you want a bigger one, you can just start with your more chains and more rows. Just make a bigger square and then cinch them up the same way. Now we get to do the fun stuff. I went ahead and added my arms and nose, and I used this super glue gel control. It comes out in a gel, so a little blob, and you can just put it right on the little tip, and you just want to make sure that you know exactly where you want to put it because you get one shot at it. Otherwise you're going to end up with a sticky mess. Now we need to pick a hat. My pattern actually has 3 different hats, and I'm also going to do videos for those different hats. I also have 3 other hats that I did previously on Snowman version 1.0, and so I'm going to put those 3 together in one video. So those will be the classic hats that I did, and then I'll have my pattern will actually have 3 new hats, and they are this one, and this one's got a little bobble stitch that goes around the neck near the brim, and that's in one color. You can also take that same pattern. Again, this has got the little bobble row, but I just changed up the color, the next to the last row, to give it a little extra bling. And then there are 2 beanies in the pattern. This one's done with a half double crochet, and this one's done with a single crochet. And you can also, this is 2 color, but you can just do that same, either one of those in just a single color without alternating colors. The nice thing about this beanie is that it's very easy to adapt to the size of your snowman's head. So if you use a different yarn, if you stuff it a little bit different, if you use tension is tighter or looser, the head shape just comes out different. And so what's nice about this is you can, as you're making it, you can kind of see if you can test it to make sure it's going to fit. If you need to, you can always add more rows or fewer rows, and you can make it longer or shorter. Just kind of depends, so you can adapt it pretty easily. So we're going to go ahead, and for this video I'm going to make one of these. And what's really nice is that you don't have to go out and buy, you might not have to go out and buy yarn to make your hat. So it only takes, this hat is less than an ounce including the palm. So you probably have something in your stash that will work just fine. And for this one I'm going to go ahead and use these 2 colors. So this one's pretty simple as well. We're just going to chain 22, do our slip stitch, and you're going to want to do that when you're chaining. You want to do it kind of loose, keep your tension loose. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. Next, we're going to want to do a half double crochet in the second chain from the hook. So we just yarn over, go into that second chain right there, pull our yarn through, and we got 3 loops on the hook. Pull it through all 3, We're just going to do that in the next stitch. Yarn over, go through, grab a yarn, pull it through all three. We're just going to do that half double crochet all the way across. When you get to the end, you should have 21 half double crochets. Alright, put one in the last one there. Straighten that out. And we're going to do 2 rows of each color before we change colors. So we're going to chain 1. We're going to turn, and when you do, you turn it like a page. So you have your work like this, and you're just going to turn it like you're turning the page of a book. And that's going to make it easier to find that back loop, because we're going to work in the back loops the rest of the way. So there's your little V. You got your front loop and your back loop. We're doing a half double crochet. So we're going to yarn over. We're going to go through that back loop, grab our yarn, pull it up. We got 3 loops on the hook. Pull it through all 3. We're just going to do that in those back loops all the way across. And just as you go, just make sure that you've got 21 stitches going across. Now we've got 2 rows done, and so we're going to go ahead and change colors. And to do that, I'm just going to drop this one. I'm not going to cut it. We'll just continue on and go back and forth as we change every other row. So I'm just going to hold that right there, grab this in my hand, and then just pull that through. That's my chain. So remember, you turn it like a page, and then we're just going to do a half double crochet in that first stitch right there in the back loop. I like to change colors every other row because that way I don't have to cut my yarn. Once I get to the end, so I've got one here, and I'm going to come back and go all the way to the other end, and then here's my yarn, the working yarn, so we'll just be able to swap it without cutting the yarn. Turn it. We'll go back down. Show you one more color change here. So now, all kinds of tails there. You can tighten those up a little. We want to grab our, and it doesn't matter if it's over the top or underneath. I like to pull it under like this. Like so. We're just going to grab it. Pull it through. And we're not going to cut anything here. And we're just going to have these loops. But don't worry, they'll be hidden up when we cinch the top of the hat closed. So that's our chain one there. Turn it like a page. And then just start with that half double crochet in the back loops again. Keep going until you have about 24 rows, and then we'll check the size to see how it looks. All right, now hopefully you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 rows of 2, so 24 rows. And I'm just going to pull this out a little bit. And before I cut it, I just want to check my size. And they do stretch a little bit, so it doesn't have to. That's just going to be great. All right. So here's the color changes. So you got this little loopy row, but we're going to take care of that. I'm going to cut the tail. That should be plenty. We'll go ahead and get rid of this one. I'm just gonna move him up. So I'm gonna just pull him through there. Snuggle him up next to that one. Gonna go ahead and tie those so they don't go anywhere. So just gonna pull that and then tighten that one. Now, with all those loops, that's our top. And you could, in theory, do a single crochet and bind those together, but I do like the effect of sewing it better. So I just put the two sides together. I'm gonna go this way. And then I'm just gonna sew along. Got a little string here, so we'll tie that off there. This is going to be in the back of the snowman, so you can bury your tails, but you don't have to spend a whole lot of time doing it. You can just run it down through. Now for the top, I'm actually going to use an extra piece of string or yarn. So we want this to be the outside. So for cinching it, I'm going to turn it inside out. And I'm going to start right about here where I tied those two together. There's a knot. And I'm just going to start going back and forth. We can do it this way too. Where is it? There it is. Okay, that'll be fine. So I'm going to hold on to this one. I'm going to pull this one tight. Get it good and tight so it's all closed up. Okay, well, and so there we are. We got a little bit of extra string, so let's get rid of some of that. The rest is just going to hide in our hat. We're going to put a palm on top. Let's go down one side of the center with the one string. Down the other side with the other string. Our palm gives us a little camouflage. Get it nice and tight. Snuggle it up right in there. Goes even shorter. Ta-da! We'll tuck our tails in. We'll do that off camera. And here he is. Aw, it's adorable. So now you have the option of either sewing it on or leaving it detached. If you leave it detached, then you can make a couple of different hats and switch it up a little bit. If you do sew it on, you're going to want to sew right inside the brim where the fold would be. And you're going to start in the back and just work your way around, going through the hat, through the body, through the hat, through the body a couple of times, a few times, and then just tie it off in the back and tuck it in. And so now we're ready for our scarf. And I'm just going to use the same two colors. And we're going to do a chain 57. And you want to chain loosely. Now we're not going to cut our yarn. We'll just draw that loop up a little bit and leave it there for now. And we'll take our other color, make a slip knot. We're going to do a single crochet all the way across. You can do it in the traditional, in the top loop all the way across, or you can turn it just a little bit, and we got these back bumps back here, and I'm going to do work in the back bumps just because I like the finish a little bit better. And we'll just do a single crochet in that first one, and then just working along. Do a single crochet all the way across. Now before you cut the yarn, you might want to check your snowman and just make sure that you're going to have enough left over after you tie it off. Tie it around the neck. Cut the second one. We're going to go back to the first one. We'll grab our yarn, and we just need to go into the we're just going right in there to start our next row, and we're just going to single crochet across this one as well. Alright, we're here, and we're just going to do one more little chain there so we can fasten it off. There it is. You can do that side, or you can do this side. This side's kind of fun. It's got a little extra detail. Now we need a little fringe on the end of our scarf, of course, so we'll just take cut some little tails. I cut about 8 little tails. I'm just going to take those tails so I'm just going to loop them. If I can get them together here, like so. Just kind of fold it in half, put my needle through, grab it, pull it through, pull up a loop, and then I'm going to stick my tails right inside there. I'm going to do that twice on each side. we just want to cut off the ends a little bit. So good luck with your snowman, and keep an eye out for the next video when I make a couple other hats, and I'll see you on another video. Until then, happy crafting. Bye!